Hey guys, I'm back with another deck review. I know it's been quite some time since my last review. A lot of that's just due to hectic schedules, doing my thesis, other projects. So yes, I am obviously behind. I promised certain deck reviews months ago, and I have a lot that I need to get to, and one such deck is the Fantastique. The Fantastique is produced by Dan and Dave. It's illustrated by Sveta Dorsheva. I am pretty sure I'm butchering that name. But yes, I got mine a couple of months ago with the uncut sheet of this deck. And I've got that hanged or hung, I'm not quite sure which. Either way, it's framed, it's up on the wall, and it looks really great, really sharp. And with that uncut sheet came a deck of Fantastiques as well. And so I don't believe they are selling the decks individually anymore on Dan and Dave's website. You may be able to find a deck on eBay or maybe some other deck website that you use to purchase things. Sorry, that's my dog. But yes, anyway, really artistic deck, to say the least. But yes, these were produced in 2011. I realize I'm a year later reviewing these, so a little bit of a dated review almost. But yes, before I continue, I forgot the information that's down here that you can read if you have this deck. This is inspired by the automations of Jean-Eugene Robert Houdin, and again, I'm very sorry if I'm butchering that name. But yes, so let's take a look at the front of the box. You have the magic top hat, I believe. Is that a bunny? Yes, no, that's a juggling, bicycle riding jester. So yes, on the brim of that hat, have some great scroll work font. On the side it says the illustrated by. Other side, Dan and Dave, and on the bottom, Dan and Dave's logo and the information I was reading. Okay, and then let's look at the back. Now this is a very involved back, and I guess you could say this is the standard card of the deck, maybe fully, all the animations going at full blast, I guess. I don't know how to say it. But yes, so you have some guys riding bicycles playing different musical instruments, and the guys in the corner have bird heads, it seems. Yes, bird heads. And you have the classic woman being sawn in half. You have a guy with a tree coming out of his hat riding a bike, and then you have the optical kind of illusion tiles going on. And yes, this is a mirrored back. But the reason why I say this is maybe the standard is that if you don't know, this deck is a working flip book. So every one of these little things here on the back change as you flip through the deck. Now, of course, it has to be in a particular order for it to work, and I am including a little snippet of how that is looking. So there you go. But yes, so let's get into the actual deck itself. Now when you do open it, you do get a jester face. If it will focus, that would be great. There we go. You may be able to see that jester. It's so small and it might be too close to the camera for you to see. But yes, there is a jester face there. So getting into it, now like I said, none of these backs are the same. And so there's really no point in me showing you an up-close version of it, because this is kind of the standard. It's on the box there. So yes, let's go ahead and get into it and see what you get. Want to make sure that you can see everything. Goodness gracious alive. Okay, I'll put those there. That sounds good. I'm going to put the deck right in the corner here. So yeah, it's a little jumbled. It's a lot to show. But yes, let me go ahead and note right now that if it looks a little gray, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the right lighting and white balance going on, but it's a little difficult. But yes, other than a few differences with obviously the Ace of Spades and then the color pattern and then the Jokers, basically all your faces are standard. What I mean by that is that, you pick up a pair of bicycles, how the court cards look, and as far as shape, not necessarily coloring with this going, on here with the pips and everything. It's the same. But obviously this is a silver and black coloration pattern. And so let's start with the Ace of Spades. You have the Turk here, and there's a lot of cool elements with this. You can check that out, that's pretty cool. Very nice, I like it. Okay, and let's move on to the court cards. If it'll focus, that'll be great. Maybe? Yes. Okay, so, and the cool thing about this is that the silver is reflective. You see that? Yeah. So the silver is reflective. Alright, let's go on to the Queen. Black Queen, even though it's a black card, not necessarily the silver suits, they still do shine. Silver parts. And on to Jack. Again, shines. Very nice. I like it. But yes, so those are your court cards, and then you have your aces again. The cool thing about the silver cards that I like is that it kind of seems to, well, I say it kind of seems, there we go, kind of seems to disappear a little bit. So I always like those with silver decks. And then you have your Jokers. They're not identical. As you can see here, they are not the same. So, and the Joker, that says Joker on it, so there is no doubt whether or not it is a Joker card. Is it focusing? That would be great if it would focus. I think it's focused. Okay. It has some gesture elements that stand for letters, so I like that. I think that's pretty cool. And that O, like where it's supposed to be, Joker, J-O, yeah. The O is actually the same face that is on the inside flap of the deck. So if you couldn't see it before, I think it's a little bit bigger now so you can see it. So that's the one Joker. And this is the second Joker. It does not say Joker, doesn't say anything like that, but it is kind of cool. It's showing more awesome, creativity on the illustrator's part. I think it looks very nice. And there is a drawback of not having two identical Jokers, but it's creative. I like it. There's effects you can do with that you couldn't do with identical Jokers. So, and you do get two gaff cards. They're blank. And out of all the cards, they're possibly, and I'll let you be the judge of that, I believe they are identical. They're some of the only ones with the same kind of back. I believe they are the same with the back. But anyway, yeah, so it's kind of cool stuff. Now, let's get to the brass tacks of the matter. What do I actually think of these cards? I think they're pretty, first off. I think they're very cool looking, especially, I love the fact that it's a flip book. That's really neat. So that's pretty cool, and there's a lot of artistic detail that goes into, it has gone into this deck. That being said, I would not recommend these probably for actual Magic use. Why do I say that? Well, every back is different, and maybe if you have some pain in the butt, audience members, they're gonna notice a difference between this card and this card, and maybe you can't because it's far enough away, but you can tell there's a big difference. The woman's not here on this one, the woman is here on this one. There's a tree with this one, there's not a tree with this one. So it's just, if you have really particular, just really hard, a very difficult audience to work with, they're gonna notice these sorts of things. And so now, I'm sure depending on what what kind of trick you're doing, and this would be okay to use. Like if you're trying to use this to turn one card into another and you're just using maybe one or two of these cards, you know, it should be fun. You can pick cards that are similar enough that it won't be that big of a deal, you know, because a lot of these cards, they're similar, you know, you would argue, well, Sarah, you know, these three look similar enough, but then you start getting into differences pretty quickly. You know, you are limited to what cards you can and can't use. And so, and you may end up with a deck that's, you know, that big or that big. So, I mean, it, you know, either way doesn't work very well for that. That being said, you know, how would I overall rate them? For aesthetics, I'd probably give them an 8. For function, you know, for magic use, I'd probably give them maybe a 5 or a 6. I wouldn't honestly use these. They're really great to look at. They're really cool to collect. And another downside, I always think, to having or using them in actual performances is how can you replace them? Can you use them? Are they just really a one-time kind of deal? Is it something that you really need to protect and kind of preserve? Since these aren't being produced really anymore by Dan and Dave, now you can correct me on that certainly if I'm wrong, it might be really difficult to get more than, you know, one or maybe one deck if you can. I mean, I don't know. Again, you correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yes, that being said, I may have just trashed your all-time favorite, you know, Magic deck, and if that's the case, I am very, very sorry. But I wouldn't even recommend these for you know, for card games, just because each card's really different. You know, so it'd be really hard to bluff if someone has kind of been able to memorize, you know, which card kind of corresponds to this area, you know, and so that would be very difficult. But that being said, again, if you don't agree with what I said, you know, absolutely you are free to disagree. So that's the great thing about opinions. So yes, reply down below. Tell me what you think of the deck. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it a cool concept? Is it badly executed? I mean, I'm not saying that it is badly executed, but you may think it's that way. So just let me know what you think, and I'll look forward to seeing y'all on the next deck review.